Chișinău, the capital of the Republic of Moldova. Welcome everyone, welcome to a new city in a new country. Welcome to Chișinău, the capital of the Republic of Moldova. We are here. We made it. We made it to a new country. And after leaving Skopje in North Macedonia, we are now here in Chișinău, Moldova. And man, let me tell you, if you'll notice, I am wearing my trusty gray hoodie sweatshirt, which I haven't broken out since, well, from a while back when we were in Argentina during the winter, the Southern Hemisphere winter. And I'm wearing this because it is quite chilly here. Man, we were in some hot places. We were in Georgia when it was hot. We were in Armenia when it was really hot. We were in Romania when it was really hot. It was even pretty hot in North Macedonia. But that's all over now, I think, because here in Moldova, it is quite chilly. But we're here actually right in front of the government administration building that is right here on this big square. This is the Great National Assembly Square of Chișinău. Right there across the street is the Triumphal Arch of Chișinău, and through the arch you can actually see there is a cathedral. On the other side of the arch, is Cathedral Park. Today, I want to explore a little bit around this area, the city, the center of Chișinău here. Explore a little bit around, talk about some of the things we want to do here in Chișinău, in Moldova, and just get to know the city a little bit better. So come along. Thanks for clicking on the video. If you want to help out the channel and help it grow, I really would appreciate it. Click on the like button down there, the subscribe button, and the little bell next to it to be notified for when new videos drop. It really helps the channel grow because it's going to help the YouTube algorithm recognize this content and spread it to other YouTube viewers. If you'd like to support the channel monetarily, I would appreciate that as well. You can leave a super thanks by clicking this thanks button here and give a small donation to the channel. I appreciate your support. So back to the video, enjoy. Now something we're gonna do in this video that's gonna be a little bit different than what we do normally in the first video that we make in most cities. Most cities, the first video that we make is like just a little introduction, an introduction to the city, plans on what things we might wanna see while we're here in the city. And we're gonna do that, we're definitely gonna do that. But another thing I wanna do is, I think this video, we're gonna do a little exploring into the unfortunately bad reputation of Moldova. Now, before I came to Moldova, I did a lot of research, of course. You know, I watched a lot of YouTube videos of other people who had been here, and just did general research into like, you know, the history and culture and stuff like that. And one of the things that kept popping up, like a theme in all of the YouTube videos that I saw, a lot of them from like other travel vloggers, was the theme of that Moldova, we're gonna go visit the poorest company or the poorest country in Europe, or we're gonna go visit the most corrupt country in Europe. And I understand what they're doing in those videos. It's definitely shock value. It grabs eyes. It drives clicks. I get it. But I don't know. I feel like a lot of the times I find cities that have bad reputations, countries that have bad reputations, and I go and visit them, and they're wonderful. Went to Argentina, went to Rosario in Argentina, the city that has a bad reputation in a country that has a kind of a bad reputation. Same thing in Mexico. Went to Ecuador, all countries that in the United States, at least in the news, have bad reputations. But I enjoyed them. I enjoyed them a lot. I had a great time. And I have a feeling that it's going to be the same here in Moldova, in Chișinău. But I think what I'm going to do is this time around, at the end of my stay, at the very end of this video, we're gonna add on a little finishing. I'll record at the end of my stay a verdict on whether or not I thought Chișinău and Moldova deserved the kind of bad reputation that they get on the internet. And spoiler alert, I'm pretty sure I know what my verdict is going to be, that it is undeserved. But we'll see. As we walk here away from the Great National Assembly Square, here is Stephen the Great, right there. That's a statue of Stephen the Great. And this park behind it is Stephen the Great Park. Now, I will say, just preliminarily, about the bad reputation that Moldova seems to have. That reputation of it being the poorest country in Europe, that is actually not true. I looked this up, and it's not. But it is one of the countries in Europe that has like a lower average income and a lower GDP, and one of the lowest. That doesn't necessarily mean that the country itself is poor. Economic distinctions are very complicated. If you're looking at a country's economy based on just GDP, that doesn't really tell you that much. And based on average income also doesn't really tell you that much, because of course the cost of living is different in different places. And there are a lot of other economic indexes that you should be looking at. Non-economic indexes too, like quality of life and human rights and things like that. That of course brings me to human rights. Is Moldova the most corrupt country in Europe? And I actually looked this up too, and no, it isn't. There is a history, a pretty bad history of political corruption here in Moldova. Like, honestly, there is in a lot of post-Soviet republics, but Moldova is not, by all statistics, by all metrics, not the most corrupt country in Europe, not even close actually. So I think we can dissuade those two parts of the bad reputation right away in this video. It's a really nice park. We are in Stephen the Great Park. Very beautiful. Very, very beautiful park. This is something I've noticed in a lot of the like post-Soviet countries that I've been to so far. Georgia, Armenia, here now in Moldova. There's a lot of really nice parks, really nice big parks with like nice benches you can sit on, and a nice like flower garden in the middle here. Really nice. They put them in places where it's very easy to walk through. Just noticed this. Now, it's not to say that I haven't seen that in other places. Of course, some of the cities I've been to, Latin America, South America, beautiful parks. But I've noticed it a lot in like post-Soviet countries. And of course, Moldova, if you don't know, is one of those countries. Just like Georgia and Armenia, where we've previously visited, Moldova used to be part of the Soviet Union. So it used to be a Soviet republic, and in 1991, the fall of the Soviet Union, Moldova gained independence, and now it is the Republic of Moldova, no longer the Soviet Republic of Moldova. All right, we took a little walk through the park. Let's walk back towards the square here. I want to go across the street and check out Cathedral Park and see the cathedral across the street. But Moldova, because of it being a post-Soviet republic, it's a very interesting history here, a very interesting, and Moldova's history is made even more interesting, I think, by the fact that up until like World War II, Moldova was actually part of Romania, and they actually speak Romanian here in Moldova. They speak other languages as well, but Romanian is the predominant language here. And Moldova is right next to Romania. It's right in between Romania and Ukraine. And though its position geographically right in between Romania and Ukraine has meant that has very, how do I put this? Like, it's been conquered many times and taken over by many different empires. It was, I would say, to its detriment, one of the pieces in the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact at the beginning of World War II between Germany and the Soviet Union, dividing up Europe. And while Romania went to the Germans, Moldova here went to the Soviet Union. It's really how Moldova ended up in the Soviet Union and in the Soviet sphere of influence. And that legacy lasts till today, actually, because similar to like Georgia, where there are separatist, separatist states in Georgia, areas of Georgia that are separate, that are controlled by Russian-backed separatists. There is one here in Moldova as well. On the eastern side of Moldova, bordering Ukraine, it's called Transnistria, and since the Transnistrian War, the separatist war here in like the early 90s, it has been controlled by Russian-backed separatists, and there are actually Russian troops, Russian military that have been there in Transnistria ever since that war, and they're there to this day. There's like a couple thousand of them, 2,000 I think. So it's a very interesting situation here for Moldova, and actually in one of our upcoming videos we're going to talk more about the politics of Moldova, because they're set to have an election here very soon, and it's going to be a very important election both for Moldova and also like internationally. It's a pretty important election. We're going to need a whole video to talk about that. You can see it again, the government building, as well as the triumphal arch and the cathedral here. We'll walk over into Cathedral Park, talk a little bit more. Yeah, Moldova, very, very interesting political situation. Very interesting linguistic situation here too. I've been sort of more and more fascinated by languages as I've been traveling, and Moldova has a really interesting language history. Like I mentioned, they speak Romanian here. Romanian is sort of the official governmental language, and if you go around, you'll see a lot of signs and things are written in Romanian. A lot of people I talk to here speak Romanian, but I also hear a lot of Russian being spoken here, as well as Ukrainian, because there are a lot of Russians here, Russian speakers, and Ukrainians as well. I think it's something like 25 maybe or 30% of people here speak Russian, and 15% speak Ukrainian, but the majority of people speak Romanian. And interestingly also, a lot of Moldovan citizens have dual citizenship. They have Romanian passports as well. It's a really interesting situation, and even though I hear a lot of Romanian around here, I definitely hear and see written a lot of Russian here as well, which is really interesting. And like I said, the language history, we're going to make a whole video about that as well, because that deserves its own video. But let's just say it's a very, very interesting language history here. There it is, cathedral. The cathedral here in Cathedral Park. It's beautiful, man. Even on a kind of cold and gloomy gray day, it's really beautiful, honestly. My first impressions of Chișinău, my first impressions of Moldova are actually quite nice, I will say. Reminds me similarly to my first impressions of Georgia and Tbilisi. And man, when I first arrived in Tbilisi, I was on the tail end of a 45-hour multiple layover trip from the other side of the world, and I was like batty. I was losing my mind, but There's also significantly warmer and nicer weather in Tbilisi. That's okay. I'm not going to hold that against Moldova or against Chișinău. Beautiful cathedral here. Wonder if we can get inside. It's one of the other things about Chișinău and about Moldova, I think, that I'm interested in, is like, I want to check out some of the other, like I've done some research about like some museums that seem kind of cool around here that I want to check out. So we're definitely going to do some videos about those. And there's something that we're going to do at the end. It's one of the reasons kind of why I decided to come to Moldova. One of the reasons was what we're going to be able to do as far as how we're going to leave Moldova. That's going to be the very last video that we make here. So I'll leave that up to you to keep watching. Maybe you'll see a very, very cool journey out of Moldova, because I think it's going to be fun. Additionally, while we're here, we happen to be here just at the right time. This worked out really, really well for us, that we happen to be here when Moldova's National Wine Day Festival is going on. It's actually just like a couple weeks from now, and I'm pretty excited about that. I didn't really know that was going to be happening. I had actually already booked the trip here to Moldova, but then when I was in Romania, I talked to a lot of people in Romania, and I told them, you know, when they asked like, where are you going next, I told them I was going to North Macedonia, and then I told them I was going to Moldova, and they said, oh, the wine. It's the first thing they always said about Moldova, because Moldova was like, and still is, like really, really big producer of wine. They're known for their wine, they're famous for their wine, and every year in October, like the first weekend in October, they have a wine festival, National Wine Day, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be like right there, right out in Great National Assembly Square. There's going to be a big wine festival, and like I said, I had no idea that this was happening before I decided to come to Moldova. I had already booked the flight and made the plans and everything, so it's pretty lucky. We're going to make a video about that for sure, because that, I'm sure, is going to be fun. Here we are. Big bell tower here. And the cathedral over here. Looks like it's closed, actually, so we won't go in the cathedral. Well, maybe we can. I'll go up and see if maybe we can go in, and perhaps we'll be able to get some pictures at least of the inside. Let's see. Well, we did go inside, and it was beautiful, but no photos allowed. Also, they were mopping the floors, and I felt really bad about walking across a wet floor with my dirty shoes inside a cathedral. Something that I was not going to do, but to get a view of the inside from like just inside the door, and it was very beautiful. And if you want to see it, I guess you're gonna have to come here and see it with your own eyes, because I couldn't take pictures in there. Anyway, I think from here in Cathedral Park, I think it's a good place to end our video here, our first video from here in Chișinău, Moldova. Now, like I said, I've already planned out a few things that we want to do, future videos. I'm not sure exactly if we're going to do all of them. Hopefully we will. And hopefully we'll be able to see more of the city, be able to drink some delicious wine, hopefully at the wine festival. But I am excited here to really see if Moldova deserves that bad reputation that it has gotten on the internet, and specifically like from like travel vloggers, especially ones from the United States. I don't know, perhaps I'm exaggerating the situation, but it's just something that I saw, like a running theme, and something that rubbed me the wrong way. So I wanted to come here and see for myself, what do we actually think about Moldova, and what do we think about Chișinău? And I guess we will let you know after we've stayed here and seen all these things, we'll let you know what we think. So what's the verdict? Well, after my stay here in Chișinău, Moldova, I have to say that the reputation is undeserved. Moldova, Chișinău, where I was staying, a beautiful city, a wonderful country. I met a lot of very nice people. I saw a lot of very interesting things, ate delicious food, drank delicious wine. There's a lot of stuff to do here in Chișinău, and I think because of its reputation, it is one of the least visited cities by tourists in all of Europe, which actually makes it quite a gem, and I would highly recommend coming here and visiting Chișinău if you're planning to come and visit this part of Europe. But I think that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. There's plenty more coming from here in Chișinău, Moldova. Stay tuned for that, and we will see you in the next one.